this is our final segment here in this first introductory kind of week here, and it's kind of a hot take. It's just we're jumping around a little bit. I want to give you what I think are the best teams in the league. I'm going to give you what I think are the best coaching staffs in the league, which is obviously a little touchy. And then I think you have the sleeper.
Sleeper, yeah, and you didn't really define that. You
just
said
sleeper. Is it a kid that's a sleeper? Is
team,
it a team?
Donnety's sleeping. What's happening?
It could be anything. It's a sleeper. It's however you want to handle it.
Okay, what's top teams too? What's that mean?
Top
tournament,
teams.
duel,
yeah,
division.
I would say, what do you think the best teams are in the league? And that would be the answer. I think there's 4, maybe 6. I think at the end of the year,
but not 5.
Well, maybe 5.
It's 4 or 6.
It could be 5. I mean, well, you're kind of using, trying to predict the future. Here are what I consider the best teams in the league this year. I think Beaver Local is going to be really good. Young and tough.
And I'll just get into my top teams too. I have Beaver Local in there too.
Okay, all right, so that's good. And I guess as a side note too, we agreed to not talk about any of this stuff before we got on camera live. That way, we're not we're not rehearsing anything. Obviously, you could see we're not polished podcasts or vloggers or whatever you call them.
This has got to be bad. I haven't watched it yet, but
I don't think it's bad. I think it's honest.
I mean, just us.
Yeah. Well, somebody has to do this, right?
Right.
Who else is going to help recognize kids of the EOWL? Don Mancini's doing his
Dom's
part.
done a nice
Let's
job.
do our part. Mike Helm and Max Pierce are doing their part, right? Hogg has done certainly a great job. Can I finish my teams, or do you want to do your teams?
Go ahead.
I feel like I should go first. I started the segment.
Okay, we both got Beaver.
Okay. I have Canfield.
I got Canfield too.
Okay, good. You copied mine. I have Louisville.
I have Louisville too.
I have Alliance.
Okay.
You don't have Alliance.
I only had 4 because
I hope Shaw sees this. I hope Deuce. I hope Marcus. I hope all them guys see this.
I got Alliance right now, Shaw. Look it. I got you, and I got you circled.
Yeah. He don't have you. The other team you had is Fitch, right?
I did have Fitch in there. I think.
You're a homer. You and Bird are buddies.
With John Bird at the helm, steering that ship.
You and Bird are buddies, and that's a homer pick. Yeah. He had 2 homer picks. Good job. And you know what?
He has. Hey, he beat you the last 2 years. Not me.
No, he
I
beat
was
us.
just an assistant.
He beat us.
But you.
He beat us because of the moves you suggested to lower weights. Those are what I think of the teams right now. A lot of wrestling to find out. This is going to change weekly, I'm sure. And we're good friends with Coach Bird and the guys over at Fitch, so certainly no disrespect to the kids there. And I think if you ask the guys on the team, they know us pretty well too. So that's the top teams. Couple other segments here. So I'm going to say what I think the best coaching staffs are in the league, and then you're going to do sleeper. So you got a minute or so to figure out what sleeper means.
Okay.
And I'm going to go here. I'll first say this. I don't think there's any coach in the league that would not support their staff. When you spend as much time with your staff as we do in this sport, in our sport, there isn't any coach that wouldn't say their staff is the best staff for them at their particular school. And I think Canfield is not different there. I think Canfield has an incredible staff. That being said, I removed Canfield from the discussion, and I wanted to say what are the staffs that I really like that consistently do a really good job. Now, this isn't to take a shot at anybody or any of those things. I just think right now, I think Beaver Local staff, they've been able to, Coach Williams, all those guys, Bosch and all them guys down there, Bowersock, McComas, all them guys. They've built something from youth to middle school to high school. They know who they are. They train incredibly hard. From the days of Emmerling and Richie Wright and all that stuff, the history of Beaver Local was probably the best history of any wrestling program in the league. It's just so deep with the Hopples all the way back there. And they have not swayed from being who they are in up and down years. That's just who they are. And I just have a lot of respect for them. A lot of respect for anybody that does what we do. And the second one I would say is Gerard. Gerard gets overlooked sometimes because maybe they don't have, I would say the last couple of years they've had incredible teams, a lot of depth. But prior to that, they've had always some really good individuals. Jimmy Cordero over there, Walt, the rest of them guys, they do a phenomenal job. And I think what's important about both of those programs, I think, is that there's a special thing about being a head coach in the school that you wrestled at. And I started thinking about to myself, I started looking around the league, with you guys in Canfield, and then I looked at Bird and Fitch, and I started thinking about guys. That's something I think we should talk about. How many head coaches of programs in the EOWL are graduates from that school? I bet you that number's probably pretty high. Zakrashik is. Dom was a Boardman guy.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so just kind of going through that list and seeing, Haiti was a Liberty guy, right?
Right.
So just going through that list is something impressive. So those are two teams that kind of always stood out to me over the last, I would say, 4 or 5 years. They're exceptional individuals and coaches, and everybody has some strengths. But that's kind of things that, kind of caught my attention as I was scribbling down some things that I wanted to talk about. What do you think sleeper is? How are you going to handle it?
I'm going sleeper team and sleeper wrestlers.
Okay.
So sleeper team, I'm glad you brought up Gerard. I put Gerard.
Yeah.
I got to see him at Solon, and obviously you got Del Garbino. But I think once again they're a solid top to bottom team. I think they get overlooked by the bigger schools in the league a lot of times.
Yeah.
But and I forget what they finished last year, but they were up. They were up.
They had a real nice tournament.
They're just a team that I think people sleep on and forget about. And they're in Trumbull County. There's not as many teams over there.
Right.
But I think this year is going to be no different than the last few years. I think they're going to have a great year. I think they're gonna do a nice job dual wise and tournament wise. I could see them being. It wouldn't shock me if they were in the top 5 at the league tournament.
It also wouldn't shock me if they get to Columbus. I think of all the teams in the team state dual process that's been new here the last couple of years, I think the closest team to get there was Gerard.
Yeah, when they were D3.
Their 95 got sick, didn't show up, and they lost that duel.
Right.
And they, I think, were out of all the teams in our league, they were the closest to
Right.
getting to Columbus. And I don't know. I think people miss that. I think that they got a nice program, and they're Gerard kids, they're Gerard guys, and they're a lunch pail team. I like them.
Right. So just another shout out to Gerard there, and they're doing a nice job. So my sleeper wrestlers, I went with one who's a state qualifier, and that's Michael.
Not a sleeper. A sleeper can't be a state qualifier. Do you think?
You listening?
Okay, I'm sorry.
And that's Michael Furry. And I went with Michael. I think he's always been a sleeper.
He was in Columbus last year.
I know that, but if you asked around the state who Michael Furry is, how many people do you think know who Michael Furry is?
I think guys do after last year.
I don't.
I do.
And I think they should.
Yeah. We're not being disrespectful here, but I don't know. I don't know if you'd be a sleeper if you're not. I guess I think of sleepers like haven't been to Columbus but are going to be in Columbus. Maybe we should have defined that because no one needs to hear us argue about that. But I think. But go ahead. Who you got one more than one?
Okay. So Mike Furry, I think. And I think he's going to get back to Columbus, and I think he's going to place, and that's something at D1.
Hopefully, he'll wrestle in college too.
Especially, yeah, he's a kid that I could see doing it. He seems to really love wrestling, and everything about it. So he's this kid I could see moving on, kind of like Marco Perry did last year.
Yeah, and having a pretty good year. Huh?
Yeah, he is.
Pretty good year.
And then the other one I put as a sleeper, and I don't think he is around the state, but he's new to our league. Because he's from Louisville. So I think he's going to open a lot of eyes in our league, and that's Jax Leonard. I think there's probably not a lot of
Again, not a sleeper because he was in Columbus, but sleeper to our league.
Yes.
That makes sense to me.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I like it.
So I think he's a sleeper to our league. I think he's going to open a lot of eyes. I know some of the guys like Bird, they know him because him and Fairbanks had some close matches last year, so I think
those NBC teams know him too. You know what I mean? Because they were out near them.
Okay, so you pretty much shot down my whole sleeper thing.
No, I didn't shot down. The Jax Leonard sleeper thing makes more sense to me than the Fareed thing. But you know what? I also think there's a senior and a sophomore thing going on there too, right? Isn't Jax a sophomore?
He's a sophomore.
So we'll see. That's what we
you got
have.
any sleepers?
No, I wasn't supposed to do sleepers.
No, just critical of mine.
Yeah, I'd much rather be critical of yours than have to have you be critical of mine.
All right.
Hey, hopefully you spend any time. If you love wrestling like we do, this is something that obviously you can tell is a lot of fun for us. I think we're just getting started, and I think we're going to argue about a lot of things. We've got 4 commitments from head coaches in the league already that want to come on in 1 week and do a segment. We've got a couple of media guys that want to do that. We're going to try to get a couple state-ranked guys, statewide guys, maybe get the president of the Coach Association, Tom DeSabato, on maybe. See if we can get Josh on there or Schaefer, and I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see where it goes. Hey, this thing may fizzle out, but if it does, I had a good time this week, huh?
Yeah, that was good. Nice job.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, good luck, everyone, this weekend.